My wife is funneling my business profits into her secret lover's new boutique. It's a mouthful, right? Like something out of a cheap thriller, except it's my actual, messed up reality. I found out last Tuesday, or rather, I confirmed it. The spreadsheets, the bank transfers, the whispers from my accountant, it all coalesced into this sickening, undeniable truth. And honestly, if you're new here, if this is the first time you've stumbled upon my story, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Seriously, it helps me keep doing this, sharing these raw, messy parts of life. And if you're digging the vibe, the realness, give it a like, a share with a friend who might need to hear it, and definitely drop a comment below. Your thoughts, your experiences, they matter. They really do. So, last Tuesday, the air in my office, usually thick with the smell of stale coffee and ambition, felt suddenly thin, like I couldn't quite catch my breath. I'd been digging, not for anything specific, not at first, just a nagging feeling, a disconnect. Sarah, my wife, she's always been vibrant, electric, the kind of woman who walks into a room and suddenly the lighting is better, the music is louder. We met 5 years ago, a whirlwind romance that felt like the universe finally decided to cut me some slack. I'm an architect. I build things, solid, tangible things. And for a long time, Sarah was the beautiful, intangible dream I thought I was building my life around. We live in this nice suburban house, you know the type. Big lawn, good school district, the whole 9 yards. It's not ostentatious, but it's comfortable. It's ours. Or at least I thought it was. My business, Apex Designs, it's doing well. Not Silicon Valley fortunes, but solid, steady growth. I pour everything into it, the late nights, the early mornings, the constant pressure of keeping clients happy and deadlines met. It's my baby, my legacy. And Sarah, she was always my biggest cheerleader, or so I believed. The first inkling, the tiniest sliver of doubt, started about 6 months ago. It was subtle, almost imperceptible. Sarah had always been savvy with money, not ostentatious, but smart. She managed our household finances, paid bills, kept track of investments. Then there were these expenditures. Small at first, a new designer handbag that seemed a little too rich for her usual taste, a weekend spa retreat that wasn't really her thing. When I asked, she'd brush it off. Just treating myself, honey. You work so hard. I deserve a little pampering. And I bought it. Of course I bought it. Why wouldn't I? She's my wife. I trusted her implicitly. We were building a life, a future. Then came the investment opportunity. She presented it to me with this incredible enthusiasm, her eyes sparkling. David, I've been thinking, there's this new fashion boutique opening up downtown. It's going to be amazing, high-end, really exclusive.
I've been talking to the owner, and they're looking for early investors. I think it could be a great way for us to diversify, maybe even see some decent returns. My gut, that primal, instinctual thing, gave a little twitch. Fashion wasn't really Sarah's world. She dressed well, sure, but she wasn't a trendsetter, not someone who lived and breathed haute couture. She was more of a cozy cardigan and good book kind of woman, or so I thought. But she presented it so convincingly, so passionately. And I, caught up in her excitement, in the shared vision of our growing wealth, I agreed. I even wired her a significant sum from a personal account, meant for a vacation fund. She handled the transaction, of course. Easier this way, she'd said. Less paperwork for you. That's when the spreadsheet started to look odd. Not mine, but hers. I'd occasionally glance at the shared family finances, the joint accounts. There were transfers, larger than usual, to a separate account that Sarah had set up a year prior, ostensibly for personal projects. When I asked about the fashion boutique, she was vague. Oh, it's going well, but still in the early stages. Lots of setup costs. She'd show me a slick brochure, a glossy website she'd created, entirely professional, of course. She'd always been good at putting on a show. The real unraveling began with my accountant, a no-nonsense woman named Brenda, who's been with Apex Design since day one. We were going over the quarterly reports, and she pointed out a series of irregular expense claims from the company credit card, things that didn't align with our usual vendor payments. David, she'd said, her brow furrowed, I'm seeing a lot of payments to a firm called Enchante Consultants. I don't recognize them, and the amounts are substantial. Enchante Consultants. The name pricked at my memory. Sarah had mentioned it once as the marketing agency for the boutique. I felt a cold dread creep into my stomach. I asked Brenda to dig deeper, not into the company's finances, but into the boutique itself. Who was behind it? She came back to me a few days later, her face grim. David, It's not what you think." She'd pulled up the incorporation documents for Enchante Consultants and the boutique, Serafina's Closet. The owner, the sole proprietor, was listed as one Liam O'Connell, and the mailing address for Enchante Consultants? It was a P.O. box. Serafina's Closet, a leased storefront in a trendy district, but no clear financial backing beyond initial seed money. My mind raced. Liam O'Connell. The name meant nothing to me. But Brenda, bless her thoroughness, she'd done a little more digging. A quick search revealed a Liam O'Connell, a former associate of a competitor, someone known for certain extracurricular activities. My competitor, actually, a guy named Mark Jenkins. Mark and I have a history. It's not pretty. We've gone head-to-head on major projects, stolen clients, the usual business warfare. The pieces started to click into place, forming a mosaic of betrayal so sharp it could cut glass. Sarah, my Sarah, the woman I shared my bed with, my dreams with, was using my company's profits, my hard-earned money, to fund a boutique that was secretly co-owned, or at least heavily backed, by a man tied to my biggest rival. And not just any man, someone with a reputation. The word secret lovers wasn't just a title. It was a cold, hard fact forming in the pit of my stomach. I confronted her, of course, not with accusations, not at first, just with questions. "Sarah, honey, about this boutique, Serafina's Closet, I haven't heard much about it. How's it really doing?" She gave me that practiced smile, the one that usually melts my reservations. "Oh, you know, David, it's still finding its feet. The market is tough, but I'm confident it will turn around. I believe in it." Her eyes, those beautiful, captivating eyes, didn't quite meet mine. There was a flicker, a subtle shift in her posture, a tension I'd never noticed before. "And this Liam O'Connell?" I pressed, trying to keep my voice even. I saw his name on some of the initial incorporation papers Brenda helped with. Her smile faltered for a split second. "He's a business partner," she said, her voice a little too casual. "He has some experience in retail." Business partner. The lie tasted like ashes in my mouth. The next few days were a blur of forced normalcy. I went to work, I came home, we had dinner, we watched TV, but underneath the veneer, a storm was brewing. I started checking bank statements obsessively, every transfer, every withdrawal. And there it was, clearer than day. Large sums of money, systematically siphoned from Apex Design's operating accounts, rerouted through shell accounts, and then deposited into accounts linked to Enchante Consultants and Serafina's Closet. It wasn't just personal projects. It was a financial hemorrhage. My business, my life, being bled dry for a secret, for a lover. The anger was a slow burn at first, then it ignited into a raging inferno. How could she? How could she look me in the eye, sleep beside me, and systematically drain me dry for someone else? The thought of her with him, of them sharing secrets, building a future on my stolen wealth, it was a physical pain. I felt like a fool, a naive, trusting fool. Every loving gesture, every sweet word now felt tainted, manipulative. Was any of it real? The life we'd built, was it all a carefully constructed facade? I started staying late at the office, not to work, but to think, to plan. I needed proof, undeniable proof. Not just financial records, but something that would shatter the illusion completely. I hired a private investigator. I know, it feels dramatic, almost cliche, but what else could I do? I was drowning in suspicion, suffocating under the weight of her deceit.
The PI, a gruff but efficient ex-cop named Ray, promised results. He delivered them 2 nights ago. A small, discreet envelope slipped under my office door. Inside were photographs. Photos of Sarah. Photos of her laughing, her arm around a man I'd never seen before. He was handsome, in a roguish Ken doll sort of way. The backdrop was a dimly lit bar, the kind of place Sarah would never usually frequent. In one photo, they were leaning in close, their lips almost touching. In another, her hand was resting on his thigh. The final photo was the one that sent me over the edge. They were walking out of a boutique. Her boutique, Serafina's Closet. And the man, Liam O'Connell, was looking at her with an expression that left no room for doubt.
It was possessive. It was intimate. It was the look of a man who knew, who owned the woman beside him. My world imploded. The sterile glow of my office seemed to amplify the ugliness of the images. I sat there for hours, the photographs scattered across my desk, the weight of it all crushing me. The betrayal wasn't just financial. It was personal. It was primal. My wife, my partner, my life, she was a stranger. A stranger who had been systematically stealing from me, building a new life with someone else, using my own resources to fuel their dream. The anger was still there, a hot, raw wound, but it was laced with a profound sadness, a grief for the life I thought I had. I looked at the clock. It was almost 2 a.m. She was probably asleep, nestled in our bed, the same bed we'd shared, oblivious to the wreckage I was now staring at. I picked up the photos, my hand trembling. I had to do something. I had to confront her. But how? How do you confront the person you love most in the world with the most devastating truth imaginable? The silence of the office pressed in on me, broken only by the frantic thumping of my own heart. I knew I couldn't let this go. Not now. Not ever. The question wasn't if I would confront her, but when, and what would be left of us afterward. The thought of waking her, of seeing the denial, or worse, the confession in her eyes, made me physically ill. I felt trapped, a spectator in the destruction of my own life. The phone in my pocket buzzed, a text from Ray, the PI. More intel acquired, subject seen at Liam O'Connell's residence late last night. Urgent. Urgent. That word echoed in the hollow space where my heart used to be. Urgent. My marriage was urgent, my business was urgent, everything was urgent, and I was standing at the precipice, the ground crumbling beneath me. I looked at Sarah's picture on my phone, her smiling face from happier times. It felt like a cruel joke. And then another text from Ray. This one was short. He's not just her lover, David. He's your competitor. The world tilted. Mark Jenkins. It always came back to Mark Jenkins. Suddenly, the financial drain, the boutique, the affair, it all felt orchestrated. A deeper, more sinister game being played.
And I was just a pawn. A very, very well-funded pawn. The confession was just beginning. The hum of the fluorescent lights in my office felt like a drill boring into my skull. Ray's last text message pulsed in my pocket, each vibration a tiny hammer blow against my already fractured composure. He's not just her lover, David. He's your competitor. Mark Jenkins. The name settled over me, not with surprise, but with a chilling confirmation of a deeper rot I hadn't even begun to suspect. It wasn't just Sarah. It was a coordinated attack. My wife, the woman I'd built my life with, was an accomplice, a willing participant in a scheme orchestrated by the man I'd spent years trying to outmaneuver in the cutthroat world of architecture. The financial drain wasn't just about her lover's boutique. It was about crippling me, weakening Apex Designs, making it ripe for acquisition, or worse, destruction by Jenkins. My mind, usually so adept at spatial reasoning and structural integrity, felt like it was collapsing under the sheer weight of this revelation. I stared at the photographs again, the glossy paper suddenly feeling slick with something unsavory, like a confession smudged with cheap perfume and ambition. Sarah, looking radiant, her smile wider than I'd seen it in months, her hand resting so casually on Liam O'Connell's thigh. Him, her supposed business partner, the man she'd lied about, looking at her like she belonged to him. And now, the final, devastating piece of the puzzle. He wasn't just some random guy she'd fallen for, or a convenient financier. He was Mark Jenkins' pawn, or perhaps even Jenkins himself, operating under a pseudonym. The implication was staggering. Was Seraphina's closet a front? Was Liam O'Connell a fabricated identity to obscure Jenkins' involvement? Or was Jenkins leveraging a genuine connection to Sarah, using her, us, as a tool? The anger, which had been a roaring fire, now simmered into something colder, more calculating. I stood up, my legs feeling heavy, disconnected from my will. The office, my sanctuary, my place of creation, felt like a tomb. I needed to get out. I needed air. I grabbed my keys,
the metallic clink a jarring sound in the oppressive silence. As I walked out, I caught my reflection in the darkened window of my office door. A hollow-eyed stranger stared back, his face etched with a pain so profound it felt like a physical scar. Driving home felt like navigating a minefield. Every familiar landmark, every street sign seemed to mock me with the normalcy they represented, a normalcy I no longer inhabited. Our house, nestled in the quiet, tree-lined suburb, felt like a stage set, the charming facade hiding a nest of vipers. I parked the car in the driveway, the crunch of gravel under the tires sounding like a gunshot. The porch light was off, the windows dark. She wasn't home. Thank God. Or maybe not.
At least it gave me a moment to steel myself, to try and untangle the knot of emotions constricting my chest. I let myself in with the key, the familiar click of the lock echoing the finality of everything I'd lost. The house was silent, unnervingly so. It was usually filled with Sarah's presence, her gentle humming, the clinking of dishes as she prepped dinner, the soft rustle of pages as she read. Now, only the ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall marked the passage of time. Each tick a reminder of how much time I'd wasted, how much I'd been deceived. I walked through the downstairs rooms, my gaze sweeping over the meticulously arranged furniture, the photographs on the mantelpiece. Us, smiling, happy, a lie frozen in time. The betrayal wasn't just about the money or the affair. It was about the deliberate, sustained deception. It was about Sarah looking me in the eye, day after day, and weaving a tapestry of lies. I went upstairs to our bedroom. It was immaculate, as always. The duvet was pulled taut, the pillows perfectly plumped. Her side of the closet was a symphony of organized designer clothes, a stark contrast to the chaos raging inside me. I sank onto the edge of the bed, the mattress dipping beneath my weight. The scent of her perfume, a subtle floral fragrance I'd always loved, now felt cloying, suffocating. I picked up her phone from the nightstand, a reflex born of desperation. I knew it was wrong, a violation of privacy. But in that moment, privacy felt like a luxury I could no longer afford. I didn't need to unlock it. I'd seen the texts from Ray. I knew enough. But I found myself scrolling through her recent calls, her messages, a morbid curiosity driving me. Nothing overtly damning in the visible threats. It was too well hidden, too deliberate. Then my thumb brushed against an app I'd never noticed before, tucked away in a folder labeled Utilities. A dating app. Not a hookup app, but one that catered to a more discreet clientele. Curiosity, morbid and insatiable, compelled me to tap it open. It required a login, of course. But then a flicker of an option, recover password, and beneath that, a prompt to use an associated email address, her email address. I typed it in, and then, almost without thinking, typed in the password I'd used for our shared Netflix account. The screen flashed, and then I was in. The profile was startling. A name I didn't recognize, a generic profile picture of a man looking off into the distance, a bio that spoke of shared interests I'd never known Sarah to have. But it was the messages that made my breath catch. Threads of conversation, dating back months, possibly years. Messages filled with a casual intimacy that sent shivers down my spine. References to clandestine meetings, to our little sanctuary, to shared dreams of a life away from everything else. There were messages to Liam O'Connell, of course, coded and loving, filled with a passion I hadn't seen in her eyes for me in years. But there were others too. Messages from a profile that used the initials MJ. MJ. Mark Jenkins. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic, trapped bird. The conversation with MJ was different, more businesslike, yet laced with a perverse affection. Talk of our plans, of securing the future, of making sure David remains oblivious. One message from MJ read, "He's so predictable, isn't he? Blindly trusting. It makes everything so much easier." Another, sent after a significant financial transfer from Apex Designs to Enchante Consultants, simply stated, "The next phase is critical. Don't waver, Sarah. You're doing brilliantly." My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. The depth of it, the sheer, calculated malice. This wasn't just an affair. This was a conspiracy. Sarah wasn't just a cheating wife. She was an active participant in my professional ruin, collaborating with my arch nemesis. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. I felt sick, dizzy. I dropped the phone back onto the nightstand, the screen going dark, leaving me in the oppressive gloom of the bedroom. I stumbled out of the room, needing to escape the suffocating atmosphere. I found myself in the living room, staring at the photograph of us on the mantelpiece again. The wedding picture. We looked so young, so hopeful. I remembered that day, the sheer joy, the absolute certainty that I was making the right choice. Now, looking at her smiling face, I saw only a mask. A car pulled into the driveway. Headlights swept across the living room window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air. Sarah was home. My breath hitched. I wasn't ready. I couldn't do this. But I had to. The knowledge burning within me wouldn't let me pretend. I stayed put, rooted to the spot, the silence stretching taut, until the front door opened. "David, you're home early." Her voice, melodic and laced with a practiced warmth, drifted into the room. She appeared in the doorway, carrying a small shopping bag, her eyes bright, her smile genuine. Or was it? Was that smile for me, or for the secrets she carried? She looked stunning, as always, the kind of woman who made heads turn, who effortlessly commanded attention. And I, the architect, the builder of solid things, had let myself be swept away by something so ephemeral, so deceptive. "Yeah," I managed to croak out, my voice rough. "Just had a lot to think about at the office." She walked further into the room, her gaze flicking over me, a subtle assessment in her eyes. "Everything okay?" she asked, her tone shifting, a hint of concern, or was it apprehension? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to meet her gaze. The anger was a volatile cocktail, with a surge of something akin to pity and a profound sense of loss. "No, Sarah, not everything is okay."
She set the shopping bag down, her movements becoming more deliberate, more cautious. "What's wrong?" she asked, her eyes narrowing almost imperceptibly. I walked slowly towards the mantelpiece, my hand reaching for the framed wedding photo. I picked it up, turning it to face her. She looked at it, a soft smile playing on her lips. "Remember that day?" she said, her voice a little softer. "We were so happy." "Were we?" I asked, my voice dangerously low. "Or were you just putting on a good show?" Her smile faltered. The warmth in her eyes receded, replaced by a flicker of something guarded. "What are you talking about, David?" I held the photo between us, the smiling faces a stark contrast to the storm gathering in the room. "I'm talking about Seraphina's closet, Sarah. I'm talking about Liam O'Connell. And I'm talking about MJ." The color drained from her face. Her eyes widened, a silent confession in their depths. She opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. She looked like a cornered animal, her carefully constructed facade crumbling around her. "Ray, my investigator, he's very thorough," I continued, my voice gaining a hard edge. "He found the photographs. He found the boutique. And he found your dating app. With the messages, Sarah. The messages to Liam. And the messages to MJ." She finally found her voice, a hoarse whisper. "David, please." "No." I cut her off, the words sharp, final. "No, please. Not anymore. Who is MJ, Sarah? Who is he to you? And what is his connection to Liam O'Connell?" I took another step towards her, my gaze unwavering. "Is he Mark Jenkins? Is he using you to ruin me?" Her breath hitched. She looked away, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. The silence stretched, thick with unspoken accusations and dawning horror. Then, she looked back at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and something I couldn't quite decipher. It's not like you think," she stammered, her voice trembling. "Then tell me, Sarah," I demanded, my voice laced with a cold fury. "Tell me what it is like. Because right now, it looks like my wife is in league with my competitor.
systematically bleeding my business dry to fund her lover's boutique and her own clandestine life. Tell me I'm wrong. She took a shaky breath, her hands clenching and unclenching at her sides. Liam is my partner. And MJ, she hesitated, her gaze falling to the floor. MJ, he's helping us. He's invested. He's someone who believes in the project. He wants to see it succeed. Believes in the project? I scoffed, the sound harsh and disbelieving. Or believes in destroying me. And this investment, is it coming out of Apex Design's account, Sarah? Is that how you're investing? She didn't answer. The silence was her confession. The sheer audacity of it, the calculated cruelty, it made my head spin. I felt a wave of nausea wash over me.
You've been using my money, my company's money, to fund your lover's business and to partner with Mark Jenkins? I stated, the words tasting like poison. All this time, while I was working myself to the bone, thinking we were building a future together. She finally looked up, her eyes pleading, but with a flicker of something defiant beneath the surface. It's not just about money, David. It's about building something new, something that's mine. Something that's yours? I repeated, the absurdity of it hitting me. Built on my back? Built with my stolen fortune? And Liam, is he just a pawn in Jenkins' game, or is he more? My voice dropped to a whisper, the question hanging heavy in the air. Is he really your lover, Sarah? Or is he just a convenient name on a piece of paper, while the real money, the real operation, is being run by Jenkins? She flinched at the mention of Liam as a pawn, a strange protective instinct surfacing in her eyes. Liam he's important to me. And MJ, he's been a part of this from the beginning. He saw the potential. The word beginning struck me. How far back did this go? How long had she been planning this? And Mark Jenkins, my bitter rival, my sworn enemy in the business world, was somehow intertwined with my wife's secret life. The sheer complexity of the betrayal was overwhelming. I felt a primal urge to lash out, to break something, anything, to release the pressure building inside me. So, it's all true then, I said, my voice flat, devoid of emotion. Everything I found. The transfers, the boutique, Liam, MJ, and the fact that MJ is Mark Jenkins. She nodded, a single, almost imperceptible movement. Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't look like tears of remorse. They looked like tears of frustration, of a plan gone awry. And he's been funding this? Jenkins? Through you? I pressed, needing to understand the mechanics of this nightmare. He's been feeding you money, and you've been feeding it to Liam? Or is Liam just a name and it's all Jenkins? She took a deep, ragged breath. It's complicated, David. Liam, he brought a lot to the table, but MJ, he provided the stability, the resources. He believed in Seraphina's closet's potential, and he saw Apex as a stepping stone. A stepping stone. The insult, the sheer callousness, it was almost too much to bear. I had been a stepping stone. My entire life, my hard work, my love, reduced to a mere obstacle to be overcome. A stepping stone, I repeated, the words hollow. And Sarah, my darling wife, was happy to help him step on me. Did you ever love me, Sarah? Or was I just a convenient bank account? Her eyes finally met mine, and in them, I saw a flicker of something that might have once been affection, quickly overshadowed by a cold, hard pragmatism. I loved you, David, she said, her voice barely a whisper. But this is my chance, my opportunity. And MJ, he understands that.
He understands that you're willing to betray me, to destroy my life, for a fashion boutique and a partner who might not even be real? The rage was building again, a silent, deadly force. And what about Liam? Is he a willing participant in this charade? Or is he just as much of a victim as I am? She looked down, her silence deafening. And in that silence, a new, horrifying possibility began to form. What if Liam O'Connell wasn't just a business partner or a lover? What if he was another part of Jenkins' elaborate scheme? What if Sarah was not just an accomplice, but a pawn herself, being used by Jenkins for his own twisted agenda? The realization sent a fresh wave of dread through me. The image from the PI's photos flashed in my mind. Sarah's arm around Liam, him looking at her with that possessive gaze. Was that real affection or a performance? So let me get this straight, I said, my voice tight with suppressed fury. You and Mark Jenkins, my biggest competitor, are secretly funding a boutique through a shell company using my business profits. And Liam O'Connell is, what, a puppet? A scapegoat? Or is he also involved in some deeper deception? Sarah finally looked up, her expression unreadable. Liam believes in the vision. He believes in Serafina's closet. And MJ believes in us. Us? I spat out the word. There is no us, Sarah. There's you, there's Jenkins, and there's me, the fool who provided the capital for his own downfall. I took a step back, the room suddenly feeling too small, too suffocating. I looked at her, at the woman I had loved, the woman I had married, and I saw a stranger, a cold, calculating stranger who had systematically dismantled my life piece by piece, all while smiling and telling me she loved me. This is it, Sarah, I said, my voice raspy. This is the end. I want a divorce, and I want every single penny back that you've stolen, every cent. She blinked, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. But they didn't look like tears of genuine sorrow. They looked like tears of calculation, of a plan that had been interrupted. David, please, we can work this out, she pleaded, her voice cracking. This boutique, it's everything to me. And MJ, he promises. He promises you the world, doesn't he? I interrupted, the bitterness big in my throat. Just like I did. But I was real, Sarah. My love, my commitment, my life with you, that was real. And you threw it all away. For this. I gestured vaguely around the pristine yet now tainted living room. You traded everything for a boutique and a man who's using you as much as you're using me. The doorbell rang, a sharp, insistent sound that cut through the tension. Sarah's head whipped towards the door, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and something else, something almost expectant. Who could that be? She hadn't mentioned expecting anyone. Who is that? I demanded, my voice low and dangerous. She swallowed hard. I don't know.
But as I walked towards the door, a sudden, chilling certainty washed over me. The timing, the shared secrets, the coded messages. The possibility that Liam O'Connell was not the main player. My hand hovered over the doorknob, my mind racing. What if this was not just Sarah's confession, but the beginning of a confrontation? What if the person at the door was not an innocent visitor, but a player in this sordid game? A player I knew, a player I despised. The thought sent a jolt of cold fear through me, a primal warning bell screaming in my gut. I took a deep breath, my knuckles brushing the cool metal of the knob, and prepared to face whatever or whoever was waiting on the other side. The truth, I suspected, was about to get a whole lot uglier. The click of the lock felt like a final punctuation mark, not on a sentence, but on an entire chapter of my life. The air in the house, usually so familiar, now felt heavy, stagnant, thick with the unspoken. I didn't move, not until Sarah let out a small, choked gasp. I turned slowly. She was standing by the doorway, her face pale, her eyes wide with a terror that was finally, undeniably, real. Behind her, silhouetted against the dim light of the porch, stood a man. Tall, broad-shouldered, the expensive cut of his jacket, the way he held himself with an almost arrogant stillness. It was him, Mark Jenkins. He stepped into the light, his gaze sweeping over me, then settling on Sarah. A small, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips, a predatory gleam in his eyes. It was the same smile he'd worn when he'd snatched a contract right out from under my nose, the same smile he'd used to charm investors and clients alike. But now, it held a new layer of smug satisfaction, a cruel amusement. "David," he said, his voice smooth, deceptively calm. "Fancy meeting you here." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. He hadn't just shown up. He was expected,
Sarah had called him. Or perhaps this was the culmination of their plan, the final act of their carefully orchestrated destruction. "Mark," I replied, my voice rough, barely a whisper. The rage that had been simmering within me for hours now boiled over, a furious inferno threatening to consume me. But beneath the rage, there was a chilling clarity. This wasn't just about Sarah and her affair. This was about Mark Jenkins, the man who had shadowed my career for years, the man who had always been a step ahead, a ghost in my periphery. He was the architect of this entire betrayal. Sarah finally found her voice, a weak, trembling sound. "David, I can explain." "Can you?" I turned to her, my eyes burning. The wedding photos still clutched in my hand felt like a cruel mockery. "Can you explain the MJ messages? Can you explain the transfers from Apex to Enchante? Can you explain why Mark Jenkins is standing in my house, looking like he just won the lottery?" Jenkins chuckled, a low, unpleasant sound.
She's quite the entrepreneur, isn't she, David? Always had a knack for seeing opportunity. And I, my friend, appreciate a good opportunity. He stepped further into the room, his presence filling the space, pushing out any lingering sense of normalcy. He moved with an easy confidence, as if he owned the place, as if I were the intruder. "Opportunity?" I repeated, my voice tight with disbelief. "You call this an opportunity? Ruining a man's life, betraying his trust, stealing from him?" "Ah, but you see, David," Jenkins said, his eyes glinting. "I didn't have to do much of the heavy lifting. Sarah here, she's been remarkably resourceful, a true partner." He looked at Sarah, his gaze lingering for a moment, a flicker of something unreadable passing between them. Was it genuine admiration, or just the satisfaction of a puppeteer observing his strings being perfectly manipulated? Sarah's lip quivered. "David, it wasn't supposed to. It got out of hand." "Out of hand?" I laughed, a harsh, broken sound. "What exactly was the plan, Sarah? You and Jenkins plotting to drain my company dry, then swoop in and take it all? Was Liam O'Connell even real, or just another one of Jenkins' creations?" Jenkins waved a dismissive hand.
Liam is an interesting part of the narrative, wouldn't you say? A useful distraction, a useful narrative, but ultimately insignificant. Sarah's ambition, David, that's the real driving force here. He paused, letting his words sink in. And her ambition, coupled with my resources, has proven to be a potent combination. My mind reeled. The sheer audacity, the layers of deception, the calculated coldness of it all. Jenkins, the man I'd always seen as a rival, was also the mastermind behind the intimate betrayal that had shattered my marriage. Sarah, the woman I'd loved, the woman I trusted with my life, was not just a victim of circumstance, but an active participant, a willing accomplice in my professional and personal ruin. "So, you used her?" I asked, turning my gaze back to Sarah, my voice barely above a whisper. "You used her love, her ambition, her desperation to get to me?" Jenkins shrugged. "Let's just say we had a mutually beneficial arrangement. She wanted to build her dream, and I wanted to expand my empire. Apex Designs was an attractive acquisition, and Sarah provided the inside track, the necessary leverage." The word leverage landed like a punch to the gut. I looked at Sarah, at the tears streaming down her face. Were they tears of remorse, or tears of frustration that her meticulously crafted plan had been discovered? I couldn't tell. The woman I thought I knew was gone, replaced by this stranger, this architect of my downfall. "And you?" I said, my voice hard as stone, turning back to Jenkins. "You've been orchestrating this all along. The financial drain, the affair, the whole damn thing. You orchestrated my wife's betrayal." Jenkins inclined his head.
"I facilitate opportunities, David. I saw a weakness, and I exploited it. Sarah's desire for something more, her dissatisfaction. It was fertile ground." "Dissatisfaction?" I scoffed. "So that's it?
You were unhappy, so you decided to destroy everything we had? You decided to align yourself with my enemy and dismantle my life?" She choked back a sob. It wasn't just about dissatisfaction. It was about wanting to create something that was ours. Ours, I repeated, the word tasting like ash. Ours, built on lies and stolen money? Built by betraying the man who loved you, who built his entire life around you? I clenched my fists, my knuckles white. The wedding photo slipped from my grasp, hitting the carpet with a soft thud. The smiling faces looked even more tragic now, a ghost of happiness that never truly existed. "It's a business venture, David," Jenkins interjected, his tone patronizing, a rather lucrative one, and Sarah, bless her ambitious heart, was instrumental in its success. The funds from Apex, well, let's just say they were essential for the initial setup and subsequent growth of Serafina's Closet. And with Apex's resources now depleted, your position is precarious. He let out another soft chuckle. "A shame, really. I always respected your work, David. You're a talented architect, just perhaps a bit too trusting." The words hit me like a physical blow. Trust, the cornerstone of any relationship, any partnership, and I had given it freely, blindly, to the two people who had systematically dismantled it. The depth of the betrayal was staggering. It wasn't just about the money or the affair. It was about the deliberate, calculated obliteration of my trust, my love, my entire life. "You really think you've won, don't you?" I said, my voice dangerously low. The rage had subsided, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. The shattering had happened, the pieces were scattered, but I wasn't broken. Not yet. Jenkins smirked. "It certainly seems that way, David. Your company is in financial distress, your marriage is, well, apparently over, and Sarah and I are poised to capitalize on our success." He gestured towards Sarah. "She's already signed over the remaining assets of Serafina's Closet to me. A wise move, wouldn't you agree, my dear?" Sarah's face contorted. She looked from Jenkins to me, her eyes wide with a dawning horror. "What? You said—" "I said I'd help you build your dream, Sarah," Jenkins interrupted smoothly. "And I have. Now it's my dream to integrate it into my own portfolio. A simple business transaction. Don't take it personally." The look on Sarah's face was priceless. The calculated facade crumbled completely, revealing pure, unadulterated shock, and then a flicker of panic. He had used her. Not just me, but her too. The ambitious partner, the co-conspirator, was now just another asset to be absorbed and discarded. You promised me," she stammered, her voice shaking. "You promised we'd do this together." Jenkins merely shrugged. "And we have. You played your part admirably. Now, if you'll excuse us, David, Sarah and I have some important business to discuss. The future, you see. It's a rather exciting prospect." He turned to Sarah, a proprietary hand resting on her arm. "Come, darling. Let's discuss how we're going to leverage this unfortunate situation." I watched them, my breath catching in my throat. This was it, the final act. Sarah, the woman I had loved, the woman I had married, was now being led away, not by her lover, but by the architect of her deception, by the man who had orchestrated my ruin. There was no dramatic plea, no desperate attempt to salvage our marriage, only a chilling confirmation of her ambition, her ruthlessness, and her ultimate, pathetic subjugation. I didn't say another word. I didn't need to. The silence in the room after they had passed was deafening. The scent of Sarah's perfume still lingered, a faint, cloying reminder of the life that had been built on lies. I looked around the living room, at the photographs, the carefully curated furniture, the life we had built together. It all felt tainted, hollow, a stage set for a tragedy I had unwittingly played the lead role in. I walked to the window, my gaze fixed on the street outside. Jenkins' expensive car was still parked in the driveway, a sleek, predatory machine. Sarah was getting into the passenger seat, her face a mask of disbelief and dawning resentment. He glanced back at the house, a brief, triumphant look, before turning his attention back to her.
I stood there for a long time, the cool glass of the window against my forehead. The initial shock had subsided, replaced by a profound, hollow ache. The anger, the rage, the hurt, they were still there, but they were like embers, banked and smoldering, no longer consuming me. What remained was a desolate landscape, a realization of what had been lost, and a nascent, fragile hope of what could be rebuilt. It wasn't a victory, not in the traditional sense. There were no heroes, no neat resolutions, only the stark, brutal truth. Sarah had chosen her ambition, her desire for something more, over love, over loyalty, over me. And Mark Jenkins, the wolf in sheep's clothing, had played his hand perfectly, using our weaknesses against us. I turned away from the window, my eyes falling on the scattered wedding photo. I picked it up, the glossy paper cool beneath my fingers. The smiling faces of a younger, hopeful me and Sarah seemed like characters from a different lifetime, a story that had taken a sharp, devastating turn. I held it for a moment, a silent farewell to the dreams I had once held so dear. Then, with a deep, steadying breath, I walked to the fireplace and placed the photograph face down on the mantel. It was a symbol, a closing of a chapter that had been stained with deceit and betrayal.
The house felt quieter now, emptier. Yet strangely, in that emptiness, there was a sliver of possibility. The damage was immense, the scars would be deep, but the foundation of my life, though shaken, was not entirely destroyed. I was still standing. And that, for now, was enough. The road ahead would be long, arduous, and undoubtedly painful, but I would walk it. I had to. The last breath I drew in that silent house tasted of loss, but also, faintly, of a hard-won freedom.